I get money in my sleep, I could never be with.
Let me ask you a question, BusH.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show. Darkside, activate. Darkside, back in the building. Let's get this shit going, man. You feel me? Crazy, crazy week, as usual. The content don't never stop. It's your boy BusH. We back at it again. We're gonna set it off with, the FatJoe controversy. A lot of shit going on. I've been speaking on this topic. You know, my channel ain't where it need to be, but fuck it, I'm delusional. We gonna be the biggest. We the biggest. Pause. But anyway, yeah, man. I spoke on the FatJoe stuff. A lot of exaggerations, a lot of cap, things like that. And he made some mistakes, said some things that activated certain people. And the one thing that was going kind of crazy was the Corey King response. Put that video up, as for my channel, it's looking pretty decent. But FatJoe sent out the Goonie, one of them dudes. You feel me? He sent out one of his boys to send a fair warning. Leave FatJoe alone. He ain't say it like that. He was being cool. He wasn't trying to be super tough, but he was like, if you shit on me, basically, and FatJoe, if you shit on FatJoe, he got the right to shit on y'all. That's what he was saying, basically. Yeah, and that's no doubt for sure. But why is he sending you? Like, is you shit on niggas? This is the internet, playboy. But ain't nobody scared of no type of tough guy threats. None of that. Let's get that straight for sure. Nobody's scared of none of that. I'm sorry. That's a fact. You already know. Every man should be able to protect himself. Every man, if you speaking on this shit, it's the content. Everybody want to, be a tough guy, but this is the content world. If you fuck up, they gonna shit on you. They gonna talk about you. That's what we do. We talk shit, and that's what it is. That's the world we living in. Sorry, I didn't create it, but I do definitely participate in it. For sure. I got a job. A nigga make money. This shit is my hobby right now. But like I said, man, once you activate the dark side, it becomes dangerous. Shout out to the dark side. Everybody on the dark side. I fucks with it. But first, Hood War Chronicles. I told you, activate the dark side, they coming. Hood War Chronicles put out some stuff. They put together a little piece speaking on all the cappery. I think they calling them Cap Joe, man. I don't know. But I think this is one of those faceless channels. You don't even see who it is or whatever. Your boy BusH, y'all see me. I'm right here, fresh in the flesh. But we gonna react to this one. Then we gonna get into this next topic, the boy Wack, of course. But yeah, man, FatJoe activated the dark side, and man, it don't end. It's just the beginning. Hip Hop War Chronicles. Let's see what they talk about, man.
Iconic hip-hop storytelling, but over the years both fans and insiders have called him out for exaggerating or straight-up lying in some of his stories.
Not too long ago,
straight capping. Now, we're not even gonna get to the FDA shit or the stuff he said about the black whatever. We're not gonna get into none of that. We just gonna run down the line of this capping first, and then we'll move on, man. BusH feeling good today, though. Let's keep it pushing.
FatJoe came out and said he lied in 95% of his rhymes. What did you think of that?
He told the truth for the first time, that he's a liar. That you can't believe nothing that comes out of his mouth. He's a liar.
Joe is pretty entertaining. He entertaining. Yeah. He entertaining. Especially when he lied. That's when he best entertaining.
From his inconsistent tales about Biggie.
I say stuff, Tim, and they always say I lie or I say too much. I work.
When you activate the dark side, shit get crazy, Joe. You activated the dark side. You put this shit together, bro.
On an album with Biggie. We cut about 5 songs together.
And how many songs did you guys do?
I don't know, but a couple. Not maybe 8 songs, 10 songs, like that.
To taking credit for things he had nothing to do with.
Put him on. I took his made sure that they played it. They wasn't never gonna play it. 6 months later, he was rich. Pitbull. I took his demo and got him signed. Cool. Trick Daddy. I took it.
All them dudes beg to differ, especially Trick Daddy. Ew, man, I'll do some shit on that later. But yeah, man, everybody he named and begged to differ. We ain't hear Pitbull, but you know, Pitbull rich as fuck. He ain't on this internet. But I heard DJ Khaled, he was like, yeah, he didn't really agree to it, but fucking Trick Daddy was like, what the fuck is you talking about, homeboy? Delusional, like I said. But he delusional in another way. Nigga, you already rich. You got the podcast going. You heard him say on his own podcast, he said, I got a problem. If somebody tell a story, I got to top that story. That's what he said on his own podcast, homie. And it's true. Watch the Joe and Jada podcast. Watch any podcast that he ever did, because he did like 7 of them. And if somebody tell a story about any specific time, anywhere, it could be somewhere where it could be out of space. He gonna come right back and top that story. Yeah, I was out of space too, but we had a spaceship that was, I'm telling you, that's who he is, bro.
This ain't got him signed.
When FatJoe said that he discovered you and Pitbull,
FatJoe, I think FatJoe got to be older than me. I think because I go to forgetting things, but I don't hallucinate. I never hallucinate.
Here are some times FatJoe got caught lying on camera, starting with his claim about Tupac. Back in
I speak on delusional, but maybe he is really, really delusional. Maybe he is maybe he do believe this type of stuff, man. But let's just keep going. But you know, on the Joe and Jada show, he said, you know, remember that little kid from Fresh? Bang, 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 bang. I put the busted dope moves, the crazy dope moves. Remember that little kid? We all loved him. You feel me? But at the same time, we knew that the boy wasn't really, he's a little kid that's up front, like one of them kids out front, a crash dummy. You know, one of those kids you send on a crash dummy mission, they get caught, they tell on everybody. If they get away, then it is what it is. You send them on another one. But he was one of those dudes. You know a lyric that FatJoe said that fucked with me for years? He said, put me in cuffs and crush what I lust into dust. Plus, they want to sell my soul, but they know Big Joey Crack will never rat a cat that he knows. You never rat a cat that you know. So you're not going to rat on the cats that you know. What about the cats you don't know? That's what he said, bro. It's your boy BusH, man. When you activate the Darkside, shit get crazy.
95, FatJoe was on the radio talking about the infamous East Coast versus West Coast beef. During that broadcast, he said some things that allegedly caused tensions with Puerto Rican inmates who were loyal to him.
And they asked me the question, yo, Joe, what you think about Tupac and all? I said, yo, he's cool, but, you know, if they step to me, it's gonna be some shit. Tupac's locked up upstate in New York. The Puerto Ricans hear that, and they're, Poppy, Tupac got beef with FatJoe.
According to Joe, Tupac somehow got wind of the situation and personally called him from prison, asking for help dealing with a Puerto Rican inmate who was supposedly giving him.
We got 1,000 people saying that was cap. And I'm sure he gonna do it. I do my reactions, they be epic. I never watch it. I watch it with y'all. But it's 1,000 people that was like, what? That don't make no kind of sense at all.
Trouble.
A phone call from Greg Nice, who pretty much put me in the game, one of my brothers. He said, yo, Joe, I got Pac on the other line. I was like, Pac?
Joe claimed they had a conversation, cleared the air, and that there was no animosity between them. He even said he sent a message to his guy, Charlie Rock LD, asking him to hold Pac down in prison.
Charlie Rock LD, a name I mentioned on this channel many a times, because growing up, I'm a New Yorker, you know, / Californian. But when I went to junior high school in New York, and when I was coming up, you know, went to high school in New York and Brooklyn till the 10th grade when they expelled me. But I was a fan of FatJoe because he was a Puerto Rican dude. He came out way back in the day. FloJo was hard. Back in the day, I know the whole song. So when on the album, his first album, he screamed out Charlie Rock LD. I think Charlie Rock LD been locked up most of his career, you feel me? But this is some guy that I think put a lot of credibility on FatJoe when he was using his name. And then when he got out, he shitted on him, man. That was bad. Corey King mentioned that too, but the boy shitted on him, and he resting in peace now. Rest in peace, Charlie Rock LD, man.
Tupac was like, yo, these Puerto Ricans is on me. Like, you said something in the radio. I don't got a problem with you, Joe. Like this, I know what's up, this. And so, you know, we sent the kite out to the Puerto Ricans and be like, nah.
But in a recent interview, Tupac's cousin, William Lassane, shut that story down completely. He explained that while Fat Joe definitely had power with his Puerto Rican people, the idea that Pac needed his help just didn't make sense.
I know he got strength with Puerto Ricans, his people. But as far as Tupac being in prison, and to call Joe to keep the Puerto Ricans off his back because they think that he got beef with Joe in the street or some. I don't know about that.
According to Lassane, the people who ran the New York State prison where Tupac was being held were actually people who knew and loved Pac.
But a lot of people who run the prisons in the New York State penal system are people that we know.
Let alone that, it was like, I'm sure 1,000 niggas ready to put their life on the line for Pac, because Pac was a star by that point. Pac was Tupac. Pac put out Brenda's Got a Baby, Keep Your Head Up, Dear Mama, all that type of stuff, which captured the heart of a lot of niggas, you feel me? So I'm sure there was a lot of dudes in there that was protecting Pac off top. We seen the jailhouse interviews from Pac, man. He looked good, he was comfortable, he was talking the shit, and he didn't seem like, oh, you know, he didn't seem like he was in distress or none of that. He was good, so I don't believe that shit. I've been to prison too. It don't even make no type of sense at all. You smell me?
They people that love us. They family members, man.
He wasn't in a prison where people would walk all over him. On the contrary, he was surrounded by strong individuals who had his back from the moment he got there.
Tupac wasn't in a prison where people was going to walk all over him. That wasn't going to be the situation. He was in prison with people who were strong.
In fact, when Pac arrived, there were already people waiting with care packages, ready to look out for him. And Pac didn't even want their help.
When he first got into Clinton, there were people already with care packages for him. Like strong people that is telling Pac, if you got problems, let me know. I'm gonna make sure that the CEOs know and this and that. And Pac telling them, nah, that's all right, I don't need none of.
Every real nigga that been to the can, no. Every real nigga is gonna go with, nah, that ain't true. Off top, if they think about it.
You guys to help me with nothing, I'm good.
Lassane also pointed out that the only reason Tupac was taken out of the general population and put in segregation was because of his connections to these strong figures. The prison officials didn't want any potential incidents, so they separated him.
The officers, knowing Pac's connection with some of the strongest people in Clinton, taking him out of population and putting him in segregation so that he don't incite any thing.
So the idea that some Puerto Rican...
That sounds about right. Now the magnitude of capping, to cap on that level is a dangerous thing. To cap on that level is very dangerous. That's the same shit, same characteristics of wack100. Let me correct that word. Characteristics. You feel me? I ain't gonna be saying characteristics, fuck out of there. Characteristics, he got the same characteristics as wack100. We seeing it. That's a high level of capping, bro.
An inmate was pressuring Pac to the point where he had to call Fat Joe for help doesn't add up at all.
That makes sense to you? That some Puerto Ricans is going to put pressure on him so that Pac can call Joe, of all people?
And that's just one of the times Fat Joe got caught exaggerating. Another recent lie that got exposed was about Big Pun. For years, Fat Joe has publicly claimed that he took care of Big...
There's hella podcasts that run this shit down the line. I probably did it once or twice, but when you activate the Darkside, they gonna really show you and put it together. And he took the time out and he dropped that shit right now, like, uh-oh, it's time to drop it. Cause Fat Joe in the hot seat, he activated the Darkside.
Big Pun's wife and family after Pun passed. He said he gave Pun's wife money, tried to help her set up a business, and made sure she was good financially.
After he passed, she had hundreds of thousands of dollars. I thought I did the right thing. She spent the money unwisely, right? She comes...
So after he passed, she had hundreds of thousands of dollars. Fat Joe, how much money did you make off of Big Pun? Millions. Hundreds of thousands. How much money was Big Pun owed? Millions. Hundreds of thousands. And then when she go broke, you say you didn't spend that hundreds of thousands, right? And then shit on her and don't give, like, you had tax issues. You was going broke too. You went to jail, homie. You wasn't doing the money right. You went to jail. All that big pun money, the platinum shit, all that bread. The fuck was you doing? Then you blame it on the accountant. Please, nigga, please.
Back and says, Joe, I'm doing bad again. We give her a check out of our pockets. We say, yo, we got to take care.
But according to Gongugu Roach, a guy who specializes in helping artists and their families recover publishing money, royalties, and other earnings that couldn't be further from the truth.
You know, Joe was all over the radio basically saying, I gave her $750,000, I gave her $250,000, I told her enough's enough. Everybody bought it and believed it. It's all lies and media.
I wish the time frame that we see the time frame of that, because that's probably when he was going through the tax issues and the boy went down, spending a lot of money. Blame it on the tax. They went on the tax people, but you made millions. You say the tax dude wasn't paying your taxes and shit like that, but you was not handling your bread right at all. And now you talking about a lady, you know, big pun mom, big pun baby mama, about not handling bread, but you was really running through millions and millions, and then you end up in jail. Like all that money you made, you didn't invest right, you didn't put it together right. And the way that he moving now, look like he's still, you know, I feel like that podcast saved his life for sure. After all that bread, you had big pun, big artist, Paul, one of the biggest, Pauls. But how did you go broke? And then you want to blame it on the tax guy. That little bit of money you should have had times 10 in the account, because you ran through millions, homie. So how you gonna talk about the baby mama from the hood who don't know nothing about this, but you've been, you know, come on now, that don't add up.
We had him admit that he never gave her $1 in his life.
Oh, so he didn't give her no
Nothing, not $1 in his life, he never gave her, period.
Gong revealed that he actually took FatJoe to court on behalf of Big Pun's wife after discovering that Joe had been stealing Pun's royalties for 14 years.
That money get evil, cold piece of work. Especially when you're going broke and you're going to jail and shit like that. Oh man, he like, I ain't never going to jail again. Pay these taxes, but I still want to live. You see how he dressed? He spends a lot of fucking money. That's why he's able to sit there and deal with that podcast, because he don't really like the way Jada be calling him out and, like, you know, throwing flags on him when he trying to get a story across. We laugh at him, we don't believe him. He don't like that shit, but he gonna put up with it because that's what's making the show. And that show is making him that bag, and that bag is what he needs.
And to Liza, after he passed away, Joe was telling her that, oh no, he owed me money. You know what I'm saying? Then all of a sudden, a bunch of fake royalty statements started to come biannually.
Apparently, Joe was generating fake royalty statements and working with Jellybean Benitez to send these bogus reports to Pun's wife.
14 years, from about 2000 to 2014, fake royalty statements was coming out.
2000 to 2014?
Yeah. Joe used Jellybean.
So wait, how did he not, you know, get in trouble for that with the law? Like, if that's true, but I don't know.
Benitez, as a publisher, Jellybean Benitez was Madonna's ex-boyfriend from the early 80s. He produced a bunch of Madonna records back in the early 80s. He remixed, he DJs now.
According to Gongs, Pun's wife had tried using multiple lawyers before him, but none of them could.
Poor lady, you feel me? Poor lady. I don't care what she went through, how she is or whatever. She deserves what she deserves because she's Pun's wife. She's the mother of Pun's kids. And you can have your opinion on her. She don't know how to save money. She don't know that. With your bullshit. Because Joe is one of those dudes that, like Wack, only respects somebody that got more money than him. Guaranteed. Now, somebody less than him, he looking at, if you got less money than him, he looking at you like you less than him. He ain't trying to hear nothing. Ain't making no excuses for her. He's just going to shit on her. She should have did this, that. I gave her $200,000. Where's that? Like, damn, fuck that. She deserved a ball off of her baby daddy's money, but you was the one balling off of it, and you still fucked it up and went to jail.
Get her justice. When he stepped in, though, he was able to take FatJoe to court and expose what was really going on.
One was super popular, was telling her there was nothing here, basically. Once I got the royalty statements, the same stuff that they had, it probably took me like a minute and a half to see the deception. I called her up, told her I paid for the case, paid for the auditor. took him to court.
And here's where Fat Joe's lies really start piling up. Not only did he claim he gave Pun's wife money when he actually didn't give her a dime, but he also went on interviews saying there was never a court case in the first place, when there absolutely was. Gonga even said he couldn't believe how easily people believe Joe's lies.
He was on Drink Champs and other platforms basically saying, I went to court and the judge said, "What are you doing here?" And I walked out. He basically went on the platform saying that there was no court case. I don't understand.
Gongu also,
like I said, the level of fucking cap is dangerous. But then they so minuscule minded, they don't think somebody will put all the facts together and bring it out. You feel me, on some Diddy documentary shit? Because that's what's gonna happen with a lot of these niggas. If you moving fucked up, somebody gonna put out that Diddy documentary on you. The Diddy documentary is coming for all you foul ass niggas in the industry, in the game, and everything. That Diddy documentary is definitely coming, because that's what it is. It's content now, content world. Y'all motherfuckers better watch up, yo. Swear to God, only documentary they gonna do on the God is solid shit, nigga. But that Diddy documentary is coming on all you foul dudes.
Revealed that when a Big Pun movie was in the works, the people behind it wanted Fat Joe involved to use his influence and connections to help push the film.
We were trying to do a Big Pun movie and stuff like that, right? And basically, we were like, hey, let's get Joe involved. You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to be bigger with Joe. If you do it without Joe, Joe Joe can get all these other people involved.
But according to Gongu, Joe allegedly refused to help unless Pun's wife publicly stated that he never stole from her. Of course, she refused, because he did steal.
Because she's not gonna lie. She's probably a God-fearing woman. You could call her all you want, judge her or whatever, but she's not gonna sit there and lie for you. So she turned down the bag because she's not gonna lie. See, Joe think the bag gonna save him from everything.
From her.
But he was basically saying like, well, if you go on Instagram, or if you go out there and tell publicly that I never stole from you, then I'll work with you. Otherwise, I'm not working with you. She's like, why would I do that? You stole from me.
So at this point, Fat Joe isn't just a liar. He's also a thief. And somehow people keep eating up his stories like they're the truth.
He was in mediation.
At this point, I think people are entertained by him, and they got Jada over there, which was a smart move for the Joe and Jada podcast, because people are holding back off of that podcast because Jada over there, because like I said, the reputation is everything. Jada got a good reputation out here. A lot of people fuck with him. He stayed solid with his crew forever. He went at Diddy. He violated Diddy when it went bad. You know what I mean? He did the verses. He went crazy on the verses. Stood tall like a New Yorker, talking crazy to them dudes. And then he come and be humble and cool and chill. He don't be lying. He don't be exaggerating. He keep it cool. When Joe start talking crazy about people and the people with less money than him, Jada don't partake in none of that. A lot of people fuck with Jada. They love Jada. You feel me? I fuck with Jada too. I love him too. He ain't my favorite rapper, and he's not my favorite from the Locks, but I fuck with him heavy. He is a good ass rapper. I'll give him top 20, dead or alive. But that's just my opinion. But that was a smart move of Joe to go fuck with Jada, man. That was a genius move. Somebody did that. I don't even think Joe thought about that, but that was genius.
He basically he said that he never gave her $1, zero. So the $750 he was talking about, he lied. The $250 he's talking about, he lied. As you see now, people are starting to see that he lies a lot, but I don't understand why nobody reprimands him.
Another prime example of his ever-changing stories is about his involvement with Biggie Smalls. Back in 2023, Joe appeared on Cam Capone's platform and dropped a bombshell. He claimed that he and Biggie had worked on an album together, recording 8 to 10 songs. According to Joe, the project was scrapped and most likely destroyed because it was so disrespectful, full of disses aimed at Tupac.
First, we made a bunch of songs, you know what I'm saying? But they was like really disrespectful and hateful, and so he died and Tupac died. They might have burnt, to be honest with you.
This nigga is good, bro. Now, he got power now because he been a star. He been making money. I'm talking about in the streets. But when I ain't gonna hold you, I even bought the book of Jose. I listened to it back in the day. It was just like bunch of vague shit, you know what I mean? Vague stuff, nothing really crazy specific about what he did, the type of stuff, and like that we could fact check. Now you got to go back and can't believe hardly nothing he say, bro. Crazy as hell, bro. The dark side activated. We go back, analyze and recognize. And you can't say they do it about everybody because it's not true. Where's the Jada Kiss shit? Where is the, you know, the shit for like people like DMX and all these real ones, the legends, you feel me? You don't see it, but you see it on certain artists. You don't see it on some, but you see it on others.
You know, it was distasteful, you know what I'm saying, after the fact.
And how many songs did you guys do?
I don't know, but a couple. Not maybe 8 songs, 10 songs, you know, like that.
Now, at first glance, it might seem believable. Joe and Biggie did have a documented relationship, but fans weren't buying it, and here's why. Joe's own words don't seem to add up. On Vlad TV in September 2018, he told a completely different story. During that interview, Joe said he and Biggie had been working on an album but only recorded 4 songs. He even mentioned that Puffy and the Hitmen were involved as producers. Fast forward to March 2021 when Joe was live with Swizz Beatz and Timbaland, and suddenly the number jumped to 5 songs.
I say stuff, Tim, and they always say I lie or I say too much. You know, I worked on an album with...
See, if he wasn't a capper, he wouldn't even be acknowledging the trolls like he always do. They always say I lie, they always say I lie. Come on, man.
Biggie. We cut about 5 songs together.
Now, okay, 4 to 5 songs? That could just be a simple mix-up. But 8 to 10? Fans were quick to call cap, joking that maybe Biggie had come back from the grave to hit the studio for those extra tracks. The inconsistencies in Joe's story had people scratching their heads. In December 2021, Lil Cease sat down with Vlad TV and shared some revealing insights about Biggie's feelings toward Tupac and diss tracks. According to Cease, Biggie was adamant that he didn't want to fuel the beef further and made it clear to Junior Mob.
That's documented on every level. Even Biggie told Mobb Deep, nah, y'all ain't dropping that. If y'all drop that LA, y'all ain't on the album. He told CNN or somebody, he told Mobb Deep and them, we ain't fucking with that. We ain't dealing with that. We ain't putting nothing into that. No energy into that. So it's well documented. Other rappers disputed that. You know, rappers that don't have the label of a cat, like Prodigy, you know, Capone, Noriega, these dudes got solid reputations. You don't see all these videos on these dudes. Now, FatJoe tried to attack the dark side, or as he called it, the dirty side. They talk about your mama, they talk about da-da-da, which is not true. We all know that too. But he said the dark side talks about everybody. That's not true, homie. That's not true at all. Every other rapper, you the only one, homie. You the only one, basically.
Mafia that recording diss tracks was off limits. He even warned them, saying,
we do talk shit about everybody when it comes to being calling them a liar and saying they be capping and all that. Nah, we talk shit. We talk shit about people for what they do. If somebody do something stupid, says something stupid, yeah. But you had a reputation as a capper for a very, very long time, and it's not added up, my boy.
If any of you guys record this track, I'm no longer messing with you. That's how strongly Biggie felt about staying above the fray. Cease claimed that no one in the crew went against Biggie's wishes, which speaks to how much weight Big's opinion carried. Then, in January 2022, Cease appeared on The Art of Dialogue and gave more context, this time directly addressing rumors about Biggie and FatJoe allegedly working on an album together. Cease, who was with Biggie almost every day, shut those rumors down, saying he had never heard of Biggie recording songs with FatJoe.
Salute to Cease, though. He told the truth. Fuck being politically correct, tell the truth.
He explained that while he might have overheard Big and Joe discussing the possibility of collaborating, no actual tracks were ever recorded.
I've seen an interview from FatJoe, and he said that him and Biggie was working on an album together, and he said that they had a whole lot of Tupac disses on the album. How you feel about him saying that?
I don't think so. I'm sure I was around for a lot of stuff, and I didn't hear none of that at all.
Cease also made it clear that Big wasn't the type to create full-on diss tracks aimed at Tupac. He might throw in a subliminal jab here
That looked like Cease was waiting for that question. He answered that shit quick.
and there, but a full-on diss wasn't his style. Ultimately, Cease expressed doubt that such an album, or even a collection of songs, existed. Interestingly, there's a rumor about a clip that allegedly surfaced on World Star Hip Hop a few years back, where Diddy himself addressed the claims of an album between Biggie and FatJoe, supposedly Supposedly, Diddy said he had no knowledge of such a project, making it impossible to confirm or deny its existence. However, since the actual clip can't be found, it's become one of those stories lost in the ether of hip-hop lore. Fans remain skeptical though, since Diddy is known for being all about his money. It's hard to believe he'd let any of Biggie's unreleased material, especially during an era where posthumous releases were booming.
There's no way in hell artists like Biggie did any type of song, any lyric on Wax that is not out right now. That's somebody that's not out making some money right now. No way. Even if it was dissing Pac or whatever the fuck, somebody would have sold that shit and got it off and then let somebody else release it. There's no way in hell. Though if those songs are done, there's no way they're not out right now. That's just plain and simple. Everybody know that, man.
It and go to waste. On the other hand, if the alleged tracks were full of Tupac disses, it's also understandable why Diddy might have shelved them to avoid further controversy. Cuban Link, another voice in the conversation, has also cast doubt on the existence of any such songs or an album. Cuban, who had his own experiences with Biggie and FatJoe, acknowledged
Cuban was nice. He had them bars on that label. He was nice on Terror Squad. I fuck with Cuban Link, man.
That Joe had a relationship with Biggie but firmly believed the idea of an album was exaggerated. Cuban Link has called out FatJoe several times for being less than truthful, and in one of his interviews, he provided his version of events surrounding a song that Joe claims was part of this mythical Biggie album. According to Cuban Link, he, Pun, and Joe once visited Diddy's recording studio, where they met Biggie. For Cuban, this was his first time meeting the legendary rapper. After exchanging pleasantries, Diddy told Biggie to explain what he had in mind for a track. Biggie wanted a
This capping must be a disease, bro. FatJoe must be a disease to be just lying like that at that age, just lying. Or did you tell your wife or your daughter something, these things, and then now you gotta keep up with it? You told people this shit back in the day before this internet era. So now you gotta keep up with these lies. That sounds about right. I just put it together. He told these people this stuff way before the internet era, before this podcast era. Didn't think it was gonna be like this. But what's in the dark gonna come to light, bro. I guarantee. He had to keep up with the lie. There was no way out of it.
Spanish-flavored intro to bring a unique vibe to the song, something with Spanish gangster spice. Among the group, Cuban was the only one fluent in Spanish, but as a rookie at the time, he wasn't sure he could pull it off. With some encouragement from Pun, Cuban stepped up to the mic, and together he and Pun laid down the intro Biggie envisioned. Biggie loved it and hyped them up for their contribution. Then FatJoe jumped on the mic to add his own flair to the track.
He said, Puffy told Big, hey, yo, tell them what you want from them so they could do it in the studio. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they could do it. You know, because you say you wanted some Spanish. You know what I'm saying? And, Pun and Joe, was there. And Pun looked at me once we heard Biggie say, now, I was the rookie at the time, real rookie, like, to do this. So they both put me to do this. So me and Pun went, and he told me, yo, the twin, take the lead. So then after me and Pun went.
I definitely believe him. I believe him on that. And we know this was Pun's homie. Pun introduced him. Pun brought him in the Terror Squad.
And did our stuff. Biggie was like, yeah, he was hyped up. Then Joe went in there and he put his spice on top on a separate track by himself.
Here's where things get messy. Cuban Link claims that FatJoe is now taking credit for the Spanish intro that Cuban and Pun created. He alleges that Joe is using a snippet of this track to push the narrative that he and Biggie recorded an entire album together.
He used that little snippet right there to sell the fact that he did an album with Biggie. Incredible liar.
Wow.
Disgusting.
That's what I'm saying. It's a disease, man. That level of lying is dangerous for the culture.
Cuban sees this as a blatant exaggeration and has been vocal about calling Joe out for it. For Cuban, the truth is simple. There was no album, just a single track with a collaborative vibe in the studio. But FatJoe's controversial stories about Biggie and Tupac aren't the only things stirring up drama. In 2022, he sat down for an interview and made another bold claim, this time saying he was responsible for getting Trick Daddy and Pitbull their record deals.
Put him on. I took his made sure that they played it. They wasn't never gonna play it. 6 months later, he was rich. Pitbull, I took his demo and got him signed. Cool. Trick Daddy, I took his and got him signed.
However, that didn't sit well with Uncle Luke, who wasted no time calling Joe out on Instagram. Luke, a Miami hip-hop pioneer, set the record straight with a detailed response saying, "I love Joe, but I find this very interesting because I discovered Trick Daddy. He did his first song with me as soon as he got out from being locked up, and he stayed with me. I also discovered and signed Pitbull to the platinum-selling Luke Records label.
FatJoe. Nobody believed that. You discovered an artist like Trick Daddy? Come on now, stop it. Stop it. Let's just stop it.
Did his first song.
He lucky Khaled letting them get away with saying, "Yeah, I discovered Khaled," because that's not really a cool thing to do to say unless you signed them and you put them out and you really was hands on with them, because they all put in work to get where they at. They all put in work to get where they at.
With me. Because I'm from Miami, I felt the importance of signing a Cuban rapper, so I discovered him off of battle rap tapes. Maybe I'm missing something here. I do have the receipts. By the way, because you don't see me in all the videos and birthday parties, yes, I found DJ Khaled on Underground Radio Mix 96 and brought him to mainstream radio. Luke's response was backed by none other than NFL legend Deion Sanders, who chimed in with a comment that added fuel to the fire. "Tell them, hero. Sometimes they forget. Luke always been that dude. He was one of my heroes and still is. Y'all have no idea what this man fought for. The music you listen to today is because of his heart."
Luke went against Death Row. Luke went against the fucking feds and police and beat that. Luke is not a liar type. Luke ain't out here on the internet capping. Luke ain't one of them dudes. So when he says something, I'm inclined to believe Luke over FatJoe. I'm sorry. And this is what Luke said. This is all facts, bro.
Conviction and willingness to fight for what he believed in. After the backlash, FatJoe went live with Uncle Luke to clarify his statement, but the explanation left fans cringing. Joe tried to backtrack, saying he wasn't claiming to have discovered Trick Daddy and Pitbull, but that he was the catalyst for getting them signed. However, the video showed Uncle Luke looking visibly confused and skeptical as Joe attempted to explain himself. Fans were quick to call out Joe, pointing out how disjointed and unconvincing his explanation was.
Now, I know you discovered Trick. I know you discovered Pitbull. I never said I discovered them. Luke. I took his demo out of love for hip-hop.
Even Trick Daddy weighed in on the situation. In his view, the idea of an East Coast rapper like FatJoe helping a Miami artist get a deal didn't make sense, especially back in the day when there was significant tension between East Coast and Southern rappers. Trick stated plainly, there was no Southern artist that was doing any kind of work or had affiliations with the East Coast rappers because they weren't on good terms. So for him to think that somebody from the East Coast would go get a brother from the South, let alone Miami, and take his music to go get him a deal with no points or strings attached.
The level of lies is dangerous. The Darkside activated, we're putting it all together, man. Better be careful fuck with the Darkside. That's why Jada Kids told you, leave it alone, leave it alone.
I don't see that happening.
Like I say, I love FatJoe, love him like a brother. I believe he loved me like a brother. As far as him hearing about me or hearing my music and taking it to somebody to hear it, probably did. For me to think that somebody from the East Coast was gonna get a brother from the South, let alone Miami, and take his music and go get him a deal with no points, no screens attached, no nothing, that I don't see that happening.
Certain people just can't lie like that. Certain people gotta keep it real. Cause for history's sake, can't be lying, man.
Fans found Trick's perspective to be perfectly logical, especially given the cultural divide at the time. Many pointed out that East Coast rappers often looked down on Southern artists back then, so the idea of FatJoe advocating for Trick's music seemed far-fetched. Trick even speculated that maybe Joe was just forgetful and hallucinating stuff. This incident sparked a wave of criticism, with fans accusing FatJoe of trying to diminish and undermine the contributions of black artists to hip-hop. Many viewed his claims as an attempt to rewrite history, inserting himself into narratives where he didn't belong. And if that wasn't enough, FatJoe has also faced allegations of being a snitch. Although he's denied these accusations, his attempts to clear his name only made things worse. In a video addressing the rumors, Joe repeatedly insisted he wasn't a snitch, but instead of offering a clear and convincing explanation, he rambled on with unrelated tangents and vague statements.
Joe cracked the dawn, has never been a rat in his life.
I don't want to get into that. I didn't like when FatJoe interviewed Tekashi 6ix9ine, but I guarantee you, This shit right here is a buildup of all the stuff he been telling them people over the years. Like I said, before the internet era, probably all in jail when he did this 4 months. Yeah, I discovered him, I did this, I did that. And then now, you gotta prove it. Show and prove. Internet era. We like, what? Word? Bring them all to the table? This is not back in the day. Everybody got a chance and everybody got a light to do whatever they want. If he say something about somebody, they could throw their phone on and be like, no, that's not true, and dispute it. It ain't no, you don't gotta go to no media outlet, no TV, none of that. And if if the person is who they are, then it's gonna go where it's gonna go. This level of capping is dangerous as fuck, bro. I swear to God, like, are you serious, bro? Are you serious, blood? Now let me stop. But hold on, let's keep going a little more.
50 Cent was riding high on the success of his classic debut album, Get Rich or Die Tryin', and had crowned himself the King of New York. His meteoric rise and brash persona rubbed a lot of other rappers the wrong way, FatJoe included. But their beef didn't officially ignite until October 2004, when Ja Rule released the track New York. On the song, Ja Rule took aim at 50 Cent and both FatJoe and Jadakiss were featured. To 50, this was a clear sign that FatJoe was siding with Ja Rule in their feud. And if you know anything about 50, you know he doesn't let things slide. In response, 50 dropped a diss track aimed at every New York rapper he had issues with, making sure to take direct shots at FatJoe. Joe didn't hold back either, claiming in interviews that he would punch 50 in his face. Things escalated further when 50 called into DJ Case Life's show on Hot 97 in February 2005 to diss Joe live on the air. Joe, hearing this, quickly called in himself, firing back by calling 50 a fake gangster and blaming his antics on steroids. By June of that year, FatJoe dropped his album All or Nothing, which featured the track My Fofo, a clear diss.
I ain't gonna hold you, FatJoe went at 50 though. He went at him.
Aimed at 50. The tension came to a head at the 2005 MTV VMAs where both rappers were present. During his speech, FatJoe made a jab saying, "I'd like to thank G-Unit for all the police protection tonight," implying 50 Cent was working with law enforcement.
I like to tell the people home, I feel so safe tonight with all this police protection courtesy of G-Unit.
50, never one to let an insult go unanswered, clapped back during his performance, cursing Joe out on live TV alongside Tony Yayo.
That show is man. Boy. You know that niggas is
FatJoe later claimed this incident cost him a sneaker deal with Jordan, a loss he estimated at $20 million. Later that year, 50 Cent released Window Shopper as part of the Get Rich or Die Tryin' movie soundtrack. He didn't stop there. He dropped an alternate version of the song to take shots at Nas, Ja Rule, Jadakiss, and of course, FatJoe. In 2000,
y'all believe FatJoe lost a sneaker deal for $20 million for a dub? See? Exaggerations, probably was 2 million.
2008, the feud reignited when G-Unit released the mixtape Return of the Body Snatchers, featuring the track I'm Leaving, where 50 went directly at FatJoe again. Joe responded by calling 50 obsessed with him in a video that surfaced online. That same year, FatJoe released his album, The Elephant in the Room, and 50, ever the troll, dropped the Elephant in the Sand mixtape on the exact same day. The cover art and the title were entirely dedicated to clowning FatJoe. To make matters worse, 50 publicly revealed FatJoe's first week album sales, just 46,000 copies, and compared them to his mixtape downloads, which hit over 400,000 in the first week. Seizing the moment, 50 released a video titled FatJoe's Funeral, where he mocked Joe's poor sales and claimed his career was dead.
Activated the dark side, bro. This is all facts. This is not live.
In 2009, FatJoe released Jealous One's Still Envy 2, and 50 didn't miss the chance to troll him again. This time, 50 made a comedy video warning fans not to listen to the album, joking that it was so bad it sent him to the hospital. However, in 2012, the beef finally came to an end, but under somber circumstances. Music executive Chris Lighty, who had played a significant role in both their careers, tragically passed away. During their feud, Lighty had often urged them to squash the beef, but it wasn't until his funeral that they took steps to reconcile. Both 50 and Joe attended, and while they didn't exchange words at the service, they later shared a stage at the 2012 BET Awards during a tribute performance for Lighty. During rehearsals, the two finally met. made amends. From that point forward, FatJoe and 50 Cent officially squashed their beef. Since then, they've been spotted together on multiple occasions.
Who you think was nice first, FatJoe or 50? Like I said, FatJoe respect people that got more money than him. He went to jail for 4 months because he didn't pay his taxes. 50 by that time balling out of control, still rich as fuck. I guarantee FatJoe put out the olive branch first, like, fuck with me, homie, fuck it, it's over.
Whether performing side by side or just hanging out. Although FatJoe continues to be a respected figure in hip-hop, these missteps have certainly tarnished his reputation for some.
Man, so.
We all know what wack100.
Hold up. Activated the Darkside. They on him heavy. That channel was good, you know, Hip Hop Chronicles. Go check it out, like and subscribe. You know, it's AI based. People don't want to put that face on it, pause, but everything they said was facts, bro. All that stuff was facts. FatJoe, the biggest thing is the Big Pun shit, you know. The Big Pun wife, that's for me, that was fucked up. Charlie Rock LD, that was fucked up. When you outside looking in, and you know what I mean? You was raised a certain way and you looking at life a certain way, and then you hear these things that turn it upside down, turn the history upside down. And then the boy is known for lying, because I wanted to believe him when he said what he said about Pun wife or whoever else. But he's wrong, bro. He in the wrong for that, man. And then he coming at the dark side for what? You know how much big, you know, these dudes out there get talked about. They don't even acknowledge this shit. You coming into this internet world, I guess you taking the whack route. The route where, fuck it. My name in the algorithm, that's what we want. Let's get paid. Hey, that's cool, I guess. But for what? But like next, look, we on this next topic though. You know, because Aunt Hefe already said what he said to Wack. He said, meet me, I don't want to do no more, nothing. We just gonna meet up and squabble. If not, leave me alone. But we know Wack ain't gonna leave him alone. But shout out to hip hop history. Let's go ahead and react to this. Get into it like fluid. Let's see what's really going on.
100 is known for. All his extortions and finessing rapper have been exposed. And today we're about to dive.
As soon as you activate the dark side, it's over. And they said that when academics said, oh, Wack is robbing Blueface. Here we go, hip-hop history. Let's go back and do the research.
Into how he finessed each one of these rappers with some paying 70% of their revenue to him. What's good? It's your boy Hip-Hop History, and today we're about to expose one of the most calculated schemes in hip-hop. Just imagine this. While you're watching your favorite rappers flex on Instagram, posting pictures of chains, cars, and cash, there's
I see they changed the voice, the AI voice. They made him more black. Before he was white.
A man behind the scenes collecting checks that would make your head spin. We're talking about wack100, a street-smart predator who turned artist management into a masterclass of financial manipulation, walking away with millions while leaving some of rap's biggest names counting pennies. This isn't just another industry story about bad contracts or greedy executives. This is about a man who weaponized his street credibility, targeting young, hungry artists at their most vulnerable moments and trapping them in deals so predatory they'd make a payday loan company jealous.
And told him they was gonna get him an attorney and do these things, and I'm thinking Max B gonna get out, forget about him.
Blueface, The Game, Ray J, and countless others fell victim to contracts so one-sided they redefined what it means to get played in the music business. We're talking about a man who built a multi-million-dollar empire, not by creating music, not by discovering talent.
What about Ray J too? Don't forget about him. And like I said, I ain't say this, but I don't know if Ray J trolling right now, what's going on, but he claims to have serious health issues to where the doctor told him he only got months to live. That's what he claims. I guess we'll get into that a little bit after this, but he has some, he get a piece of Ray J bread too.
But by creating financial dependency. While his artists grind 24/7, performing show after show, dropping track after track, wack100 sits back collecting 70% of everything they earn. That's not management, that's legalized robbery with a business license. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how wack100 turned the American dream into a financial nightmare for the artists who trusted him. You'll see the receipts, hear the confessions from industry insiders, and witness how one man's street...
That's what I'm talking about when you fuck with the dark side. putting it all together. You'll hear the witnesses, and it's gonna be all facts too. Because the Darkside we ain't got a goddamn a horse in the race. He ain't got a horse in the race. We just analyzing, keeping it 1,000 on the shit, not 100, 1,000.
Smarts became the music industry's most profitable con game. We're going to break down the contracts, expose the manipulation tactics, and show you why some of your favorite rappers are working harder than ever but staying broke. So buckle up, because this story gets darker with every signature, more twisted with every handshake, and more expensive with every deal.
We're gonna deal with it how we gotta deal with it. Next morning we got a bail a bond, and they made me, I had to get him.
Which way is you looking up? Because there's some smart ass cops that know when you look up a certain way, certain direction, you lying. So he was just looking up to the right, I think, or to the left, his left. He lying, homie. Did you see how he was looking up? The boy was just looking up to the left, to the left, to the left. Hold up, let's bring it back.
Profitable con game. We're going to break down the contracts, expose the manipulation tactics, and show you why some of your favorite rappers are working harder than ever but staying broke. So buckle up, because this story gets darker with every signature, more twisted with every handshake, and more expensive with every deal.
We're gonna deal with it how we gotta deal with it. Next morning we got a bail a bond, and they made me, I had to get him a place out there.
This is how wack100 finessed rappers for millions, and why the hip-hop community is finally waking up to the biggest scam in music business history. Before we dive into the finessing, let's talk about who wack100 really is and how he transformed from street soldier to music industry manipulator. Born Cash Jones in Pacoima, California, this man didn't start his journey in boardrooms or recording studios. He came from the concrete jungle of Los Angeles, where he built his reputation as a member of the Treetop Piru Bloods, one of the most notorious sets in the city.
That's the problem with AI. They say all kind of shit. Treetop Piru. I know he sound like a nigga and all that, but that's an AI. And my homie, you're gonna have to figure out when you hear that, when you get to those type of words, you gotta go and spell it different so you could pronounce it like Piru. Sometimes you even gotta put P-I-E, pie, and then put the R-U after that type shit.
But here's where wack100's story gets interesting.
It's starting to happen what we seen happen. People that think they're bigger than the program or bigger than what they are, right?
While most street dudes were focused on territory, respect, and immediate gratification, wack100 was studying a different game entirely. He was watching how the music industry operated, learning the language of contracts and percentages, understanding how managers and labels extracted wealth from artists who created all the value. He realized something that most gang members never figure out. The real money isn't in the streets, it's in the contracts. wack100's transformation wasn't accidental, it was calculated. He understood that his street background could become his greatest business asset if he played it right, while traditional music executives had to build credibility with artists over time.
They negotiate what they negotiate, they draw up their paperwork, right? He never one time talks to Oscar De La Hoya, right? There's never conversation between the two.
wack100 already had something more valuable, authentic street credibility that couldn't be bought or faked. Artists from similar backgrounds would automatically trust him in ways they'd never trust a suit-wearing executive from Beverly Hills. The genius of his approach was keeping one foot in each world. He maintained his street connections, his reputation in the hood, his credibility with gang-affiliated artists, but he also studied the business side with the intensity of someone preparing for war. He learned contract law, understood revenue streams.
Right, so the minute you get attorneys involved, see if you have something, right? That's yours. It's yours. And you got the consent to have it.
Mastered the art of negotiation, and most importantly, he figured out how to identify and exploit psychological vulnerabilities in young artists. By the early 2000s, wack100 had positioned himself perfectly. He had the street credibility to gain artists' trust instantly, the business knowledge to structure deals in his favor, and the ruthless mindset to prioritize profit over everything else. When artists looked at him, they didn't see a predatory executive trying to exploit them. They saw someone who understood their world, someone who had walked their path, someone who would protect them from the industry sharks. That perception became his greatest weapon and their biggest mistake. Because while wack100 was busy convincing artists that he was protecting them from predators, he was actually the biggest predator in the room. He just wore his predatory nature like a badge of honor, calling it street smarts and business acumen. Conservative estimates put Wack 100's current net worth at around $3 million, but industry insiders suggest the real number could be significantly higher when you factor in his various business ventures, real estate investments, and the percentage cuts he's been collecting for years. Every dollar of that wealth came from the same playbook: identify vulnerable talent, gain their trust through cultural connection, lock them into.
One thing I want to know is the diaper situation real? That big diaper situation he got going on with Nick Cannon in Africa. Because if it is, then his artist that he been finessing should have had interest in a piece of that, things like that. But I doubt he's doing that for them. But man, it's funny because he got these artists on his label because they looked at him as a street dude that was looking out for them, a big unk who went to prison, who was gangbanging, who know all the shit, and really looking out for them like a real one, like Top Dog, you know. Top Dog is, from what everybody here and what it's looking like, he's a solid type of dude. Now, Wack now, in the beginning, using the streets, using the prison, using his gang connections and all that. But later now, when he up where he want to be, I guess, where he going, he's switching it up and he's denouncing all that shit. You niggas are stupid. You niggas blah, blah, blah. You niggas blah, blah, blah. You think Blueface and them looking like, what the fuck? We already know Blueface is probably too deep with the nigga, pause. But Game and them, they like, man, he looking crazy. He's changing up the shit. He don't want to be no manager no more. He's just going for what he's going for. He's starting a new platform, podcast, and he's supposed to have the diapers, and then he doing the real estate shit. So he don't give a fuck what them little niggas think about him. What he said in the beginning ain't what it is now. Shit changed for him.
Predatory deals and profit while they struggle to understand what happened to their money. The most disturbing part? Wack 100 has never hidden his methods. He talks openly about taking large percentages. He brags about his deal-making abilities. He positions his exploitation as business expertise. He's built his entire public persona around being the street-smart businessman who outsmarts naive artists. And somehow, artists keep lining up to work with him. The Blueface. Finesse. A masterclass in psychological manipulation. Wow. 630 to 1600. Let's start with perhaps Wack 100's most documented and disturbing finesse, the Blueface situation. This case study reveals everything you need to know about how Wack 100 operates, why his methods are so effective against young artists, and how he turns vulnerability into profit. Picture this. It's late 2018 and Blueface is just starting to explode onto the hip-hop scene. Though is gaining serious traction on social media, the internet is buzzing about this new West Coast rapper with the unconventional offbeat flow, and everyone in the industry is scrambling to figure out who this kid is and how to get a piece of his potential success. Record labels are making calls, managers are reaching out, and the feeding frenzy is beginning. But Blueface wasn't just any emerging artist. He was exactly what Wack 100 specialized in exploiting. He was young, maybe 21 years old, coming straight from the streets of Los Angeles with zero knowledge about the music business. He had raw talent, viral potential, and most importantly, he had no idea what his career could be worth or how to protect himself from predatory deals. He was a perfect target.
Excuse me, man, like, would you insist on your son signing this right here?
And when you got parents, like, you know, his parents was young, obviously. So, yeah, I just seen them streaming together. So I'm glad that they back, you know, chilling together, making money together. But he went through some shit. He ain't come up like under a good structured household. Let's be real here.
Like, you know, like if I was your son, would you recommend this?
Now here's where Wack 100 street intelligence and psychological manipulation skills come into full display. He didn't approach Blueface through traditional industry channels like other executives were doing. He didn't send professional emails, have his assistant make polite phone calls, or arrange meetings through proper representatives. Instead, he started blowing up Blueface's phone directly, using his extensive street connections to get the personal number that other industry people couldn't access. But here's the crucial detail that shows how calculated Wack 100's approach was. Blueface wasn't answering those calls. Why? Because despite being young and inexperienced in business, Blueface understood street politics perfectly. He knew Wack 100's reputation in Los Angeles gang culture, and as a member of the Crips, he wasn't trying to do business with someone affiliated with the Bloods. The gang rivalry that had shaped both their lives was initially protecting Blueface from Wack 100's manipulation.
My son at that time, that was like my confirmation.
No lawyer, no nothing.
No lawyer, no nothing.
This is where most people would give up and move on to easier targets. But wack100 isn't most people. He understood that persistence and psychological pressure could overcome initial resistance, especially when dealing with someone young and impressionable. He kept calling day after day, week after week, making it clear through mutual connections that this was about business opportunities, not street politics. He positioned himself as someone who could separate business from gang affiliations when there was serious money involved. The psychological warfare was subtle but relentless. wack100 wasn't just calling. He
targeted Blueface because he knew Blueface wasn't going. He like, I could finesse this kid. He targeted him. That's a fact.
Having other people call on his behalf, creating a sense that everyone in Blueface's circle thought he should take the meeting. He was building social pressure while maintaining the appearance of being respectful and patient. After weeks of this coordinated campaign, Blueface finally picked up the phone. The conversation was brief, but wack100 made every word count. He didn't waste time with small talk or lengthy explanations. He told Blueface directly that he had something that could change his life forever, that he'd seen Blueface's potential and wanted to help him capitalize on it properly. But instead of asking Blueface to come to his office like a traditional business meeting, wack100 made a power move that revealed his understanding of street psychology. He sent a black luxury truck to pick Blueface up personally.
Like, I'm not a big
like
fan.
Going viral.
No. I'm not a big fan of flashing the money.
Going viral? Who you think he learned that going viral from? A lot of that shit damaged his career as a real rapper, like as one of those dudes that's in that level, going viral with all these reality shows and all the dumb shit. He learned that from Wack content.
Like, if you go to my show, you never see me flash money.
Think about the psychology behind this gesture. A young rapper from the hood sees an expensive vehicle pull up specifically for him, with a driver who treats him like he's already a star. It's not just transportation, it's a preview of the lifestyle being offered. It's a demonstration of resources and respect that immediately elevates Blueface's perception of his own value and wack100's capabilities. When Blueface arrived at wack100's house, the psychological manipulation went into overdrive. This wasn't just a nice house. This was a mansion that
Hey, hip-hop history on point with this one. Hip-hop history is on point with this one. I ain't gonna hold you. Let's keep it pushing.
screamed success at every turn. Pool area with expensive furniture, luxury cars in the driveway, high-end electronics, designer everything. For a young man who had grown up struggling financially, seeing this level of wealth was intoxicating and overwhelming. But wack100 didn't just let the house speak for itself. He walked Blueface through every room, making sure he saw every symbol of success, every indication of the lifestyle that could be his. He talked about how the music business had been good to him, how artists who worked with him were able to afford similar lifestyles, how this could all be Blueface's reality if he made the right decisions. The tour wasn't random, it was choreographed. wack100 made sure Blueface saw the home studio where other successful artists had recorded, the office where million-dollar deals had been negotiated, the garage full of luxury.
Well, of course, he's trying to sign the kid. That's only right. He got to do that, you know. So that was what Wack was supposed to do in that situation. So yeah, you know. But what he did after that, and he made them contracts like. I guess he made it bigger to where Blueface like, fuck it, I'll sign whatever he put in my face.
Luxury vehicles that represented the fruits of smart business decisions. Every stop on the tour was designed to build desire and create urgency. But here's the most calculated and disturbing part of
Wack owned his masters, probably.
The whole setup. wack100 had the contract already printed and waiting on the dining room table. Not in his office, not in a briefcase, not in a folder marked business documents. The contract was laid out on the family dining table like it was a dinner invitation surrounded by the trappings of domestic success and family wealth. The message was crystal clear. This isn't a negotiation, this is an opportunity. This isn't a business transaction, this is a family invitation. This isn't something you need to think about, this is something you need to act on immediately before the opportunity disappears. Blueface, overwhelmed by everything he was seeing and feeling the pressure of the moment, asked the one question that would seal his fate forever. He turned to wack100's wife, who had been present during parts of the house tour, and asked her directly, "If I was your son, would you tell me to sign this contract?"
When he asked me if I was your son, would you have me sign this contract? And I said, yes.
Without hesitation, without qualification, without suggesting he read it first or consult a lawyer, she looked him in the eye and said yes. That endorsement from a woman, from a mother figure.
You know, Blueface regret that. They gonna have some real heavy smoke in the future. Him and Wack, man.
From someone who appeared to have no direct financial stake in the decision was the final piece of psychological manipulation Blueface needed to hear. And just like that, without reading the contract, without consulting a lawyer, without understanding what he was agreeing to, without negotiating any terms, Blueface signed his financial future away. The contract wasn't just bad, it was predatory on a level that would make payday loan companies jealous. Here's where DJ Academics enters the story and exposes the whole scheme to the public. According to Academics, who obtained and analyzed the actual contract details, wack100 didn't just sign Blueface to his label for a standard percentage. He structured the deal to maximize his own profit while minimizing Blueface's earnings in ways that bordered on financial abuse. The contract gave wack100's label 50% of all of Blueface's music revenue, already an extremely high percentage for a new artist with viral potential, but that was just the beginning. wack100 also made himself Blueface's exclusive manager, which meant another 20% cut of everything Blueface earned. Think about the mathematics here. wack100 was taking 70% of everything Blueface made, leaving...
So he already had him on a label. If he would have signed him, got him a real manager, maybe Blueface's career would have went better and he wouldn't have landed in jail. But no, Wack want to be the manager too. Damn, it's finesse.
The actual artist with 30% of his own work. But the exploitation went even deeper. The contract wasn't limited to just music revenue. wack100 structured the deal to include touring income, merchandise sales, endorsement deals, appearance fees, social media monetization, everything. Every single dollar that Blueface's name, face, or talent could generate had to flow through wack100 first, and 70 cents of every dollar stayed with wack100. For an artist who was just starting to see real money for the first time in his life, this meant working harder and harder while seeing less and less actual profit. If Blueface wanted to put $100,000 in his own pocket, he needed to generate over $330,000 in total revenue. That level of constant hustle becomes exhausting and unsustainable, but stopping means financial collapse. The genius of wack100's approach was that he made it seem like he was doing Blueface a favor. He positioned himself as the street-smart businessman who could navigate the industry's complexities, the protector who would shield.
We keep having these hearings, and you guys don't have any new paperwork for me to violate this person.
Blueface from the real sharks in the music business. In reality, he was the biggest shark in the water, and he had just convinced his prey to swim directly into his mouth. When the contract details became public through DJ Academic's reporting, the hip-hop community was genuinely shocked. Industry veterans, many of whom had seen their share of bad deals, called it one of the most predatory contracts they'd ever encountered. Entertainment lawyers pointed out that the terms were so one-sided that they bordered on unconscionable and might not even be legally enforceable in some jurisdictions. But for Blueface, the public exposure came too late. He was already locked into the deal, already dependent on wack100's system, already trapped in a cycle where he had to work constantly just to maintain his lifestyle.
I mean, you know, play devil's advocate. Blueface, my nigga. First of all, it could have been a thing where he like, fuck it, I'm gonna sign this, become a star. Fuck all the other shit, I'll worry about that later. And that's what some ghetto boys do, you feel me? But, and I don't blame him for that. But what this is doing is exposing how foul and grimy this shit get, how foul the game get, and how foul wack100 get. And that's what we do in the Darkside though. But whew, man, that's a lot of money.
Getting out would require expensive legal battles that could drag on for years and cost more than the contract was worth. This is the wack100 playbook in its purest form. Identify young talent with viral potential, overwhelm them with displays of wealth and lifestyle, create psychological pressure through cultural connections, eliminate opportunities for outside counsel or reflection, and lock them into deals that generate millions for him while keeping them dependent and financially struggling. Blueface was just the beginning, and the blueprint was now proven to work. If the Blueface situation demonstrated wack100's ability to manipulate inexperienced artists, the game situation revealed something even more sinister and sophisticated.
Don't tell me the game was getting jacked like that now. Not like that. The game is irreparable too. The game is a little older. The game was signed to 50. He's an artist that was been through it. Not like Blueface. The game been, you know, in the business. So
willingness and ability to steal established artists from legitimate management companies using nothing but street politics, intimidation, and psychological manipulation. The game wasn't some naive young artist when wack100 entered his orbit. He was already an established name in hip-hop with multiple successful albums, industry connections, and professional management. He had a team in place, systems that were working, and the kind of career infrastructure that most artists spend years trying to build. But wack100 saw an opportunity, and when wack100 identifies an opportunity, existing contracts and professional courtesy become completely irrelevant. The situation began when the game was experiencing some typical friction with his existing management team.
I started managing an artist named Stacey Adams. Right. That day I left, I didn't leave with a phone number, I didn't leave with nothing on him. I started managing an artist named Stacey Adams, and I'm thinking, you know what, I could use a game feature.
This wasn't unusual. The relationship between artists and management is always complex, involving creative differences, financial disagreements, and personality conflicts. The game's management wasn't perfect, and there were probably some legitimate issues around booking strategies, communication problems, and the usual industry politics that create tension between artists and their representatives. But instead of the game working through these issues professionally or seeking mediation, wack100 positioned himself as the solution to problems that weren't really that serious. He began reaching out to the game directly, completely bypassing his existing management and violating every principle of professional courtesy that governs the music industry. Here's how the psychological manipulation began. wack100 used their shared blood affiliation as the foundation for trust and connection. He positioned himself as someone who understood the game's world in ways that his current management, who were probably industry professionals without street backgrounds, never could.
I get a call from Briss, me and the man that just left, Lil Jon, I just met. We at the Four Seasons on Doheny. I'm up there with Suge, Lil Jon pull up, him and Zap. I've been Zap for you there. Briss called me, tell me, G, you got him blocked in at the Hyatt on Sunset.
This wasn't about business expertise, industry connections, or proven track records.
Hey, I don't blame Wack for that either. Pull up, handle business, hey, let's see, you know what I mean?
This was about cultural identity and gang politics. The manipulation was subtle but incredibly effective. wack100 started by simply being available when the game needed to vent about his management frustrations. He positioned himself as a sympathetic ear, someone who understood the unique challenges that street-affiliated artists face in the corporate music industry. He validated the game's complaints and gradually planted seeds of doubt about whether his current team really...
Hey, he was talking about Jimmy Henchman and them killers from the East. He was talking about them niggas. Wack was, hey.
He had his best interests at heart.
If you still doing it, if you ever read the book Visions for Black Men?
No, I ain't read that one.
Y'all check it out. It's a 110-page book by Naomi Akbar. This is the book that really made me check myself. Because if you would have told me, what was in this book.
But wack100 didn't stop at just listening and sympathizing. He started taking action on the game's behalf, booking shows and handling negotiations without any official authority or paperwork. He was essentially acting as the game's manager while the game still had a management company under contract. This created a parallel power structure that undermined the legitimate management team while making wack100 appear more effective and responsive. The booking strategy was particularly calculated. wack100 focused on getting the game high-profile, well-paying gigs that his existing management might not have been able to secure. This created the impression that wack100 was more connected, more effective, and more capable of maximizing the game's earning potential. What the game didn't realize was that wack100 was taking significant percentages of these bookings without any formal agreement.
We represent, I believe it was like Czar Entertainment or something like that. Tony Martin and Brother Delaney.
Essentially stealing commissions from work he had no legal right to be involved in. When the game's legitimate management discovered what was happening, they were understandably furious. They had contracts, they had legal standing, they had invested time and resources into building the game's career, and now someone was interfering with their business relationship and stealing their commissions. They called wack100 directly, demanding that he stop interfering with their artist and respect their contractual rights. But wack100's response revealed everything you need to know about how he operates and why traditional industry professionals are often powerless against his methods. According to multiple industry sources who were familiar with the situation, wack100 told the game's management straight up that he wasn't hearing any of their complaints or recognizing any of their authority. His exact words were reportedly something like, "Y'all not finna tell me what a blood can do with another blood. This is family business and..."
Hey, it is what it ain't. Wow. So I remember on Clubhouse back in the day, I asked Wack, I was like, yo, what's up with you and Jimmy Henchman? He said, what you mean, what's up? He got a little defensive. He said, he cool. I just saw him, gave it, it was over. He got a little defensive, though. I peeped it in his tone way back in the day. Not that long, a couple years, but I'm just saying. I feel like there was something else behind that. He probably paid homie off, tell you the truth.
Y'all don't have no say in family business. He turned a straightforward business dispute into a street politics issue.
Oh, but then Jimmy Henchman went away by the feds. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Making it clear that he didn't recognize their contracts, their professional standing, or their legal rights when it came to someone he considered part of his street family. This response reveals the genius and the danger of wack100's approach. The game's management were industry professionals who operated in boardrooms, resolved conflicts through lawyers and contracts, and expected business relationships to be governed by professional standards and legal agreements. But wack100 was operating by street rules where respect, reputation, and cultural connections matter more than paperwork.
I got people I call that I get around, like in New York too, motherfucking boroughy.
The game's management found themselves in a situation they weren't equipped to handle. They could threaten legal action, but that would be expensive and time-consuming. They could try to
No, it was Jimmy Henchman, man. He was fighting the feds around that time, if I'm not mistaken. It was Jimmy Henchman and the Black Hand, what was it, Black Wall, something like that. And yeah, he was dealing with some real issues. He couldn't deal with that. So once he was weak, you know.
With the game directly, but wack100 had already positioned himself as the more culturally authentic option. They could try to compete by offering better terms or services, but wack100 wasn't competing on professional merit. He was competing on cultural identity and street credibility. The game, caught in the middle of this conflict, made the decision that would cost him millions of dollars over the following years. Instead of honoring his contractual obligations and maintaining his professional relationships, he chose to go with wack100. The street connection, the promise of better bookings, the appeal of working with someone who understood him culturally. It all seemed more attractive than dealing with industry politics and professional obligations. But here's what the game didn't realize at the time, and what makes this situation so tragic. His previous management was actually doing a significantly better job than wack100 ever would. Under his old management, the game was working less frequently, but making more money per engagement. The bookings were strategic, designed to build his brand and maximize his long-term earning potential. The deals were structured for sustainable success rather than quick cash grabs. Under wack100's management, the game found himself on a completely different trajectory. He was working constantly. More shows, more appearances, more promotional activities, more hustle. The schedule was relentless, and the activity level made it seem like his career was more successful than ever. But the money wasn't adding up the way it should have been.
When you go to talk about people putting tickets on people's heads, right? This ain't back in the 70s or the 80s, right? Unfortunately, the streets is bad.
Why? Because wack100 was taking his 50% cut off the top of everything, plus additional percentages for various services and expenses. The game was working twice as hard to make roughly the same amount of money he was making before, but he didn't realize it immediately because the constant activity and hustle felt more authentic.
Fucked up because the game is nice. The game is a West Coast artist that got skills, like rapping, and he really like a lyricist. He took this shit serious. Right now, like, man, since he got with Wack, like the dude said, left side, the game career went down since.
Authentic, more connected to his street identity and work ethic. This is the psychological trap that wack100 sets for all his artists. He makes them feel like they're winning because they're staying busy, because they're working with someone who understands their culture, because they're constantly in motion. But while they're feeling good about the relationship and the activity level, he's systematically extracting wealth from every aspect of their career. The game situation also revealed another crucial aspect of wack100's operation, his willingness to use intimidation and street politics to eliminate legitimate competition. When professional business people tried to protect their contractual rights and financial interests, wack100 made it clear that he wasn't operating by business rules or professional standards. He was operating by street rules, and in that environment, contracts and professional courtesy don't matter. Only power, reputation, and cultural connections matter. For other management companies in the hip-hop industry, the game situation sent a chilling message. If you have an artist that wack100 wants, and that artist has any connection to his street network or cultural background, your contracts might not be worth the paper they're printed on. It established a precedent that showed how street politics could completely override legitimate business relationships in the hip-hop industry.
You got finesse. That's called finesse. When you fuck with somebody at the beginning, get locked in on some shit, and y'all just about to do it, y'all locked in, he know everything about you, you know everything, and then you realize, oh, this motherfucker crazy. This motherfucker foul, this motherfucker this. And then it's too late and too deep. You know, that's what it is, man. He got finessed. And when you're artist, Blueface and Game, and he got other artists, you know, under his label and stuff that never really, you know, they still local, but they nice. I heard a lot of them. And your managers out there beefing with people like Nipsey Hussle, who was one of the Game's best friends. He talking shit about Nipsey when he dead. Talking shit about Pac, who every rapper was inspired by Pac. Talking shit about whoever he wants to, just reckless about the dead and crazy shit. Yeah, it's gonna hurt your artists. It's gonna hurt your artists because once the people see you running with that, yeah, the fans they ain't rocking with that, man. You're not supposed to talk about that. You're not supposed to speak on that as a manager. You fucking it up for your artists. But Wack don't give a damn. He want to see. That's the thing. Content. Once he started that content shit, Blueface career started going down, and Games too.
Long-term consequences for the Game were severe. He ended up working significantly more while building less wealth, trapped in a system designed to benefit wack100 at his expense. By the time he realized what had happened, he was already dependent on wack100's booking network and financial system, making it extremely difficult and expensive to leave. The Ray J situation represents a different and perhaps more insidious aspect of wack100's operation. What happens when a relationship starts legitimately but gradually transforms into exploit?
Like I said, we praying for Ray J though. Fuck with Ray J. Came in the game young, brandy little.
Unlike Blueface in the Game, Ray J came to wack100 as an established entertainment industry veteran with decades of experience, multiple successful business ventures, and sophisticated understanding of how the industry operates. He wasn't naive, he wasn't desperate, and he wasn't easily manipulated. But wack100 found ways to exploit him anyway, revealing the depth and sophistication of his predatory methods. Initially, the relationship between Ray J and wack100 appeared to be genuinely mutually beneficial. Ray J needed management that could handle both his music career and his broader entertainment business interests. He was involved in multiple ventures: music, television, technology startups, fashion, and needed someone who could coordinate these various activities while understanding the unique challenges of managing a celebrity brand. wack100 positioned himself as exactly what Ray J needed. He presented himself as someone who understood both the creative side of the entertainment industry and the business side, someone who could handle complex negotiations while maintaining the street credibility that was important.
You got Ray J fucked up one night off a good one, because you know Ray J later started indulging a little extra heavy. He probably got Ray J some shit, you know, Wack dealt with extortion. Probably got a video of Ray J doing some crazy shit. Who knows? But I'm just saying, like, it ain't like he was a smart guy who finessed Ray J. I don't think it was some rough tactics that made him sign the Wack on, you know. You already know. It was something, extortion, something.
Important to Ray J's brand. For the first period of their relationship, this positioning seemed accurate. Ray J was getting booked for high-profile appearances, his various business ventures were being promoted effectively, and his overall brand was being managed professionally. The relationship seemed to be working exactly as it should. Ray J was making money, wack100 was earning his management fees, and both parties appeared satisfied with the arrangement. But as time progressed, wack100's true nature and priorities began to emerge. Instead of focusing on Ray J's actual career development and long-term brand building, wack100 became increasingly obsessed with generating quick money from Ray J's past controversies and personal history. Specifically, he became fixated on Ray J's history with Kim Kardashian and the infamous intimate tape that had launched both of their careers into the stratosphere years earlier. Here's where the situation becomes really problematic and reveals wack100's willingness to exploit his clients' personal lives for profit. wack100 started making public claims that he had access to additional unreleased footage from Ray J and Kim Kardashian's past relationship. Whether these claims were true or completely fabricated didn't matter to wack100. What mattered was that the claims could generate massive media attention and, more importantly, massive paydays through interviews, appearances, and media deals. Ray J was in a completely different place in his life by this point. He had evolved far beyond the young man who had been involved in those early controversies. He was now a father, a husband, a legitimate businessman focused on technology ventures and family life. He was actively trying to move past the tabloid drama that had defined his early career and build a more mature, respectable public image. The last thing Ray J wanted was to be dragged back into tabloid drama, especially drama involving someone who had become one of the most famous and powerful people in the world. Kim Kardashian was now a billionaire businesswoman with massive cultural influence, and Ray J understood that rehashing their past relationship would be professionally damaging and personally embarrassing for both of them. But wack100 saw...
Yeah, Raycon. Like, Ray J had Raycon, man. If he would have kept his image clean and did his thing, I don't know if he sold it or not, but that was worth some bread. I think he did sell it because it's still available, I think. But like once he destroyed that image, Playboy, and it happened under wack100, drinking and looking crazy all on these reality shows, doing goofy shit. That's not what a tech guy is supposed to be doing, or a big money guy looking goofy on reality shows. Nah, that don't add up. It's going to destroy shit.
Dollar signs and media opportunities. He started making increasingly bold public statements about this alleged additional footage, suggesting that it could be released, hinting at its contents, and generally creating a media frenzy around something that Ray J wanted nothing to do with. He appeared on podcasts, gave interviews, and made social media posts, all designed to generate attention and monetize Ray J's past controversies. Ray J's response was swift and public. He called wack100's behavior not cool and made it clear that this kind of exploitation didn't align with his personal growth, his family values, or his image as a father and businessman. He publicly distanced himself from any plans to release additional footage and emphasized his desire to move forward rather than backward. The conflict revealed the fundamental difference in their priorities and values. Ray J was thinking about his long-term reputation, his family's privacy, his children's future, and his legacy as a businessman and entertainer. wack100 was thinking about immediate profit opportunities, regardless of the personal cost to his client or the long-term damage to Ray J's carefully cultivated mature image. This pattern, wack100 prioritizing short-term profit over his client's long-term interests, defines all of his relationships with artists.
He's a bad manager, bro. He's a terrible manager. He's a bad manager. That boy is bad. Damn.
When there's a choice between what's best for the artist and what's most profitable for wack100, he chooses the money every single time, regardless of the consequences for the people who trust him with their careers. The situation became even more complicated and revealing when wack100 started making public claims about Ray J's street affiliations and background. In various interviews and podcast appearances, wack100 suggested that Ray J was affiliated with a mob Peru Bloods, presenting this alleged gang connection as part of Ray J's authentic street credibility. Ray J's response to these claims was immediate and emphatic. In a Vlad TV interview, he strongly denied any gang affiliations and pushed back hard against wack100's characterizations of his background and identity. He emphasized his focus on family, professionalism, and legitimate business ventures rather than street politics or gang culture. This public disagreement...
Ray J definitely been claiming the B team, and everybody know that. He said it, he beats and certain whatever, so we ain't gonna play with that, but this the AI, they talking that. They went crazy with that, but he did state that on Vlad, but people in tune already know, like, man.
Was significant because it showed that not all artists are willing to let wack100 control their narrative or exploit their backgrounds for his benefit. Unlike younger, less experienced artists who might go along with whatever their manager says publicly, Ray J had enough industry experience, personal confidence, and financial independence to publicly contradict wack100's statements about him. But the damage was already done. By the time Ray J was publicly contradicting wack100's claims and distancing himself from the controversy, the stories were already circulating in the media. The attention had already been generated, and wack100 had already profited from the drama. Ray J was left to clean up the mess, redirect attention back to his legitimate business ventures, and repair any damage to his carefully cultivated professional image. The Ray J situation illustrates several crucial aspects of how wack100 operates, even with experienced
Yeah, like I said, Ray J going through the little things right now. Hold on, man, because he was just saying some stuff, and I'm like, wait a minute, is he trolling? Because it's, like I said, a level of trolling is real bad. If you got to go through that and say stuff like this, a lot of people don't really believe him, but he's saying he got some real issues. You feel me? And he was like basically talking like he's really, I don't know, but he looked fine. He ain't on no bed or nothing. So he's not in the hospital. He said the doctor said he got some months to live or something like that. So like I said, he comes under that whack shit, and then you think about the level of trolling. Is this just another troll? Like, you know what I mean? All right. But hold up, but we gonna peep it though, real quick. Then we'll get back to that because gotta do some things here.
What's up, everybody? It's Ray J.
That's over. Hear everybody laughing in the background. It doesn't seem like a serious situation at all.
We're live right now. We're coming off of a crazy run. I want to thank everybody for praying for me. I was in the hospital.
He does look crazy though. He does look a little like, yeah.
My heart's only beating like 25%, but as long as I stay focused and stay on the right path, then everything will be all right. So thank you for all your prayers. 2027.
So you're not on no type of machines yet. Your heart is only beating at 25%.
Seven is definitely a wrap for me.
No, don't say that, brother. Don't say that. No, doctor. No, don't say that. Because when you say that, you're confirming what
No, that's what they said. I don't
No. But what they said, brother. You're going to live long.
Guess what?
You're going to live long to see your children grow up.
He said 2027 definitely a wrap for me. That sounds crazy as hell. You can't be, and dude is right. You can't be believing what the doctors say most of the time. But what Ray J is so crazy, I don't know if the doctor actually said that. But if he did, I feel, I don't like that. I feel sad for the little for Ray J shit. He's somebody we watched growing up. You know what I mean? But like I said, he's a master troll.
Artists who should theoretically know better. First, he identifies and exploits whatever vulnerabilities or controversial elements exist in an artist's background, regardless of how the artist feels about revisiting those issues. Second, he uses public statements and media appearances to create controversy and attention that he can monetize even when his clients explicitly oppose these tactics. Third, he prioritizes his own profit opportunities over his clients' personal wishes, family considerations, and long-term career interests. Perhaps most importantly, the Ray J situation shows how wack100 uses his clients' backgrounds and personal histories as commodities to be bought and sold in the media marketplace. He doesn't see Ray J's past relationship with Kim Kardashian as a private matter that should be respected. He sees it as a revenue stream that should be maximized. He doesn't see Ray J's desire to move past old controversies as
And now you're seeing what Ray J just said. He's going through some major health issues. I didn't hear Wack speak on that either. He's always on Clubhouse. Always got new videos coming out. I didn't hear him speak on that yet, but we still waiting on that. Anyway, it's your boy BusH from the Darkside, BusH, and another epic reaction from your boy, man. Let you see what's going on, really breaking it down. I'm gonna watch it, react to it. Shout out to the platforms, Hip Hop Chronicles and Hip Hop History. Hey, AI or not, there's a lot of facts in that shit. So make sure you like, share, subscribe. It's your boy BusH. We out with another one. We'll be back though. Peace.
Gripped up, he ain't trying to fight.
2 keys make a nigga risk it. I'm on the road with a 2-piece and a biscuit. Getting caught, that ain't shit we talk about. A nigga talk when he caught, stab him in his mouth. I ain't even do shit. The crib working construction. We move bricks. Look at me now. I made myself. We did it for the love. We did it by ourselves. You know the same story on the block, rock for wop. Now we building the business underground to the top. A lost young nigga hustling on a dark road. I'm still a hustler, cause that's all I know. Flip it to the snow cause the tree was too slow. Now we Maji and Perk, we bout to cop a boat. I love my niggas though, last real niggas left. From the cage to the stage, we did it the best. Weak niggas got left, sleep niggas got slept. From the page to page, Brooklyn we born to rep.